Hello everybody, today we're going to talk about the lore. The last time I talked about the lore was like over, no, not over a year ago, less than a year ago, but I mean June 2020, that's a long time. We're in March of 2021 right now. It's been so long since we talked about the lore. I'm still an avid, listener and avid participator of the lore at the moment, but there's just been really nothing to talk about for almost a year, like I've been saying. So finally we got something. The devs were like, yeah, I mean, we really haven't done anything with the lore. We've kind of been busy with like jet race and mining and this like May feature, so we're just like not doing any lore stuff. But they gave us like a they threw us a bone in this update, and it is nice because when they're going on breaks, like last summer they added lore when Jake stopped live streaming and there was no updates. In this time, they're not going to make an update for 2 months. It's going to be a big update, but they're not going to make it big, an update at all for 2 months. So they're like, yeah, we'll throw the lore people a bone. They're going to have to go on the scavenger hunt and try to collect all of these. And we'll get into that. I still don't think it's going to do anything, so they kind of threw us a bone for no reason. But again, we'll get into that later on. But yeah. In today's video, we're going to talk about the lore that we haven't talked about in so long. So let's just get right into it. So the first thing is, I didn't watch the live stream recently where, Jake is probably getting asked a bunch of times about the lore, and then he's, of course, nonchalantly saying, oh, well, I can't talk about it. The devs were like, no, Jake, you tell everybody too much. We literally can't tell you anything. I mean, I swear, like, if Jake was on NDA... Wait, that's the right thing, right? Non-disclosure agreement? Yeah, if he was on NDA to not spoil the lore, he'd probably still spoil the lore just because he likes telling us so much, and he'd probably just be pressured by the, Twitch chat or whatever, which is kind of funny, but, yeah, no. He can't tell us anything about the lore. He doesn't know anything. Don't ask him. He genuinely doesn't know. On the live stream clip, and I'll roll this right now, it's from Pixelbot, but of course the original live stream is from Jake, so I'll credit both of them at the same time. Roll it.
The other devs know Jake well, so Jakey won't get any lore info. Yeah. I have zero. Well, I do have some. Let's just say like that. I do have some idea. I do how often they do, how often everybody else, how often it is done. I know about that. Because they tell me that, hey, there is new stuff. You are not supposed to look here. Like, during the live stream, don't go there. Or don't do that. Okay? And then you're fine.
Basically, in the clip, Jake is just saying, like, they don't actually tell me anything about the lore, but they do say, we've got this much progress done with the lore and building the lore and adding more lore into the updates. However, we're not going to tell you anything about what we've added or anything we've done. So obviously Jake's in the development process, but he's not in the programming process. So the developing process is like, the update timeline for the year, or, how the game's being, played or processed by fans, etc. It's developing the game. It's like the ideas behind the game, right? However, programming's more like actually making the game, the items, the specific like descriptions for the items. It's all the specific like literal programming for the game. It's like literally making the game. So, Jake is a developer for the game. That's why they have the dev rank, they're purple, but he doesn't literally program the game. So that's why you shouldn't ask him if he knows anything about the lore, because they probably, and they can just not tell him about the lore. I mean, there's no reason he would even know, if they never told him, because either he finds out on his own or not. Like, that's pretty much the only reason he'd be able to find out about the lore. But anyways, regardless, basically what he said, and I'm sorry about harping on for that for that long or whatever, basically Jake was saying that he was just told like not to interact with certain stuff and not to go to this world is specifically what he said. So I'm not sure about the interaction, but in not going to a certain world, I'm sure he meant the developers were like, don't go to aid, we don't want you to like intervene sort of in the community's lore type of stuff. because there's probably some secrets to uncover, and they don't want him spoiling the stuff. Not that he would, but they probably want to make it as a precaution, just so it can be like a special moment for the community when they solve all this puzzles and sort of stuff. I was actually going to add an entire like lore theory segment to this video, but I knew it would just be super long because we already have so much to talk about. But yeah, so again, Jake doesn't know anything, but of course it is interesting to point out that he mentioned it on the stream, because he said the devs told me not to go somewhere, not to do this, not to activate this, not to interact with this. So it's interesting to bring that up because it does mean that there was actually some big lore implications. And of course everybody knows, at least if you've played the update a little bit, that there was some lore implications, or been on social media or whatever. It's been spreading around a lot, or at least in my area of social media, where people are DMing me about the new update and these monoliths and these boxes and the monster and all this stuff tied to the lore. Of course, I made a couple lore videos, so people would probably say, that I'm educated about the lore. They want me to update about it. But yeah, I've seen it a lot everywhere for sure. And I did want to make this video to kind of inform you guys. Like, sure, I haven't been getting you guys up on the news, but none of that's super like big important news. I have been busy. I could have reported on some of it if I had the free time, but nothing's been like super crazy pressing compared to now, where there's all this lore stuff. And it's definitely important to bring this up to you guys now, because this is pretty big implications for the game. I mean, like I said, it's been almost a year since lore has been added to the game, but we've been going now for 6 minutes, so I'm just going to cut to the chase. Basically, there's these things that were brought into the game called cryptic mechanical boxes, and you've probably seen them around on social media. And if you're wondering how to get them, because a lot of people they're like, oh, it must be from Secret Base, or it must be from mining, or it's a secret prize from Netherworld. No. The specific way you obtain these boxes, the cryptic mechanical boxes that is going into a level 5 mine, and you can either get them from breaking the diamond ore found inside of the mine, or killing the monsters. There have been multiple reports and screenshots of people killing monsters. The cryptic mechanical box shows up. There's also been, diamond ore being broken. And something I do want to mention, these boxes are expensive, but they're not expensive enough to like spend your world locks on platinum keys to try to go for mechanical boxes, because they're pretty rare. I mean, let's say even you run 10 or 15 mines. First of all, if you're going to fully clear a mine, that's going to take 10-15 minutes per mine. So you're going to spend a lot of time using up those keys, and there's a good chance you don't get any boxes, because it is a rarity. It's one of those like hyper rare type of items. It's like probably around the same rarity as getting a stopwatch, if not more. And they've made the pocket watches more and more rare as time has gone on, because they want to keep it a rare item. And if it's even rarer than that, then what are the chances you're going to get it, right? So you don't want to spend your world locks on profiting from it. But I do want to let you know that these are getting expensive, and just wanted to make sure that you didn't like try to go out and spend your world locks on platinum keys, because there are people that are going to solve the lore regardless. And right now we don't even know, and again we'll get into this later, but we don't even know if there's any prize for completing a monolith. But now that we're talking about all that stuff, I might as well join in on you and indulge you in the next biggest secret about what these boxes even are. They're puzzles. If you've ever opened a fossil, which is basically a combination of 100 bone dust, it turns into a fossil. If you consume this fossil, it turns into a slide puzzle, which is a 3x3 area, and there's a bunch of jumbled puzzle pieces, and you kind of have to figure out a strategy to try to solve the puzzle with only one open space where you like slide all the pieces together. I probably have some gameplay of that specifically from this like monolith puzzle people are calling it. It's not really a monolith puzzle, it's the cryptic mechanical box. However, people are calling it monolith puzzle, rightfully so, because the prize for this box, solving the box, is very interesting. The image itself is very interesting too, but I'll probably talk about that way more in depth on a later like lore and theories video. basically the main point you need to know about it is that the text, you can translate actually the text, it is readable, it's not just gibberish. The text on the puzzle, like the finished puzzle, says true and form in, dark and light red letters. So in the blue letters, which stand for the light faction, you have form, so FORM, you can translate that. And then for the dark side, I think it's the dark faction, that's just what it's called. It's actually true. So we're assuming it's not anything super deep, it's just true form of this monster thing. Like there's not some super in-depth meaning behind it, some super extravagant thing. It's just true form. This is the monster's true form or whatever. And, where's this monster coming from? Well, you've probably seen it before, it strikes a resemblance to something we've already seen before because we have. It's on the mural. And if you haven't seen the mural before, then you probably have a really old account because that means that everybody's pretty much seen the mural at some point. It's in the intro sequence for the game. As you see the intro sequence for the game, you see a mural go by as like the soul is like swiping down and stuff through the cutscene. If you pay attention to the mural on the back, it's kind of hard to focus on that with like dialogue from the commander and the professor and like the soul going on, but in the intro sequence you can see the monster there. And of course, if you go to Aid, or if you've seen Aid gameplay and everything, you've seen the mural there as well. But there's the monster there. And there's a lot of lore and theories and implications. Again, I'm not going to get into that. This is already 11 minutes long, and I haven't even gotten to the Monolith. But I guess I'll just, go into the Monolith quickly, so this isn't like an hour-long video talking about theories and talking about all that crap. Basically, the Monolith pieces all combine into one monolith. It's like a graffiti, essentially. So when you complete a puzzle, just like fossil puzzles, when you complete the fossil, you get a random piece of a random monolith. So you either get a light monolith or a dark monolith. It doesn't matter what faction you are. Whoever completes the puzzle, you just get a random piece. And we're assuming that you need like both monoliths in one world for something to happen. We don't know. No one's completed a monolith. There's probably only at max 25 of any given monolith piece, which is not nearly enough to solve both monoliths. You need 16 total pieces, and there's already a lot of duplicates of like the 7th part of the light monolith or whatever. This is getting a bit nerdy, but you kind of know what I mean. Like, it's going to be so hard for one person, or at least even a group of people, to get all of the parts of both monoliths, which is 16 parts, 8 monolith parts per monolith, because there's a light monolith and a dark monolith, obviously representing, the factions. Basically, all of the lore so far since clans have been added has been focused on factions. There's a light and the dark side, there's clan factions and all that stuff. Even in Aid, after the clans were added, they're like, let's just push this dynamic of clans. Like, there's the light faction sets where you had to complete that one puzzle, and then you could only enter that one part of it if you had a faction or whatever. Like, you probably know what I mean if you're in with the lore and all that stuff. And then finally, that's that. We don't know what you get for the monoliths, like I said before. And, I have this sort of theory where, like, if you see the parts in the actual item slot, like what it's represented as in the item slot, it's unactivated. There's no lights up for it. But if you looked at, like, these leakers who had them fully built in their private servers, I'm not encouraging private servers at all. It's just been exposed to me through like Discord DMs of people sending this picture to me. But someone went into the files and built the monoliths themselves. It looks like when they're complete, they're like lit up. So I guess if you have all the pieces together, they lit up. They light up. Do you get a reward for that? Like, is there some activation in the lore world or something? Like, we don't know. And that's what the risk is with, like, spending all your Roblox on platinum keys. Like, what if this does nothing at all yet? And what if it never does anything? And it's just a stupid, like, graffiti puzzle just for novelty? Like, that'd be so upsetting for all of these lore getters, especially if they spend all of their platinum locks just trying to get, some freaking monolith that doesn't do anything. But it does look pretty cool, so credit to them. Like, it's a 4x2 like stone pillar. That's pretty cool. But what does this have to do with? And I have this written down: Rose of the Skies, which was found in Aid. FOMO, which, by the way, if you didn't know, the ghost that said FOMO in like the translation is just gone. So either that's a glitch and that's just poor planning on their part, or they just removed it, which is kind of weird. Like, why did they remove it? It doesn't seem like anything we did would have that happen, but okay. There's the password portals that are just ominously in Pixel Mines and Aid and the Rift World, which, if you translate the binary in the name of the Rift World, it actually just spells Aid. So they're both Aid, but obviously they're both not the same world, so I don't know why they did that. It doesn't actually make any sense in realism, but anyways, that's irrelevant. The password portals. We don't know what the passwords are at all. Like, we literally have no clue. There's no hints anywhere in the game. There's that one dude, there's the one NPC who's like, the password is Emerald. But we've tried Emerald in all of the password portals, and they don't work. So we literally have zero leads on what the passwords for those portals could possibly mean. I think it's cap sensitive. You could have numbers, symbols, so it could literally be anything, which is really upsetting because it basically means that until they directly give us like specific hints or just tell us what the password is, we're never going to know what those password portals do, and they're just there to taunt us, like us lore hunters. They're just there to taunt us for zero reason. So, yeah, and again, I wrote down here, like, what's all of this stuff connect with these monoliths? These monoliths were just kind of added to the game, and we just only assume they have to do anything with the lore because the monster in the puzzle is the same monster in the mural in the Rift World. That's the only reason we associate this with the lore, and at the same time, they're not tying up loose ends. Like I said before, we don't know what Rose of the Skies, FOMO, these password portals. We don't know what any of that does, and they're still pushing this monolith, like, puzzle stuff on us. So either they just gave up on trying to, like, convince us to research and all of this stuff on that, and they're just trying to push us into something else because they don't think we'll be able to solve it, or they've come up with this master plan where they're going to tie all of this together, like, oh, Rose of the Skies is actually what the boss is named, and FOMO is this, like, acronym for, fear of missing out, where you're all going to fight the boss, but only some of you can. You got to risk others for this. So it's like, it's such a mess at this point that I feel like they should just simplify it with, like, kind of making it more bare bones. Like, why did they add Rose of the Sky to the Aid world? First of all, when we research that, no one's going to find anything that actually makes sense. Like, Endless, please, if you're the one that designed the world, why did you do that? We don't know what Rose of the Skies means, and we'll never know. Is this just some reference that you're trying to usher in just to, like, flex on us of your, like, immense literature knowledge or something? Because we don't know what Rose of the Skies means, and we'll never know. Same with FOMO. Like, if FOMO doesn't mean fear of missing out, we're never going to know what that means. It could just be some secret, like, developer reference where, like, FOMO is some, like, program acronym or something that doesn't actually mean anything with the lore. And then same with the password portals. Like, maybe the password portals are just a design choice and they actually don't lead anywhere, which would also be equally upsetting. But like I said before, like, if these don't connect with anything, that kind of sucks for us, because that means we've kind of been wasting time trying to find passwords, trying to find all this stuff, and they just kind of don't do anything, which would be really upsetting. But I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. Again, I really want to go in depth with the mural, because with this new information of actual mural information pieces being brought into main lore and main update, like, the mural isn't just irrelevant, it actually has relevance in the lore and the story of Pixel Worlds in general. Now, I mean, maybe the mural is actually important, and that's why I wanted to talk about it in a separate episode, and that's going to be the theory episode. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that in the future, or how often I'm even going to upload. I don't even want to say that, because I feel like I'm going to, just let you guys down again, because if I say I come back to making videos, it's going to make it seem like I'm going to actually make consistent videos. When I said that last time, I stopped uploading for 3 weeks, so I'm sorry about that. But that's all I really wanted to talk about today, guys. Let me know what your thoughts about the lore are down below, because I'm really interested to see what your theories are for the lore of Pixel Worlds in general. It doesn't just have to be about the monoliths or like Rose of the Skies or whatever. Just let me know what your theories are, and I can also share that and your theories, and I'll credit you and stuff in that theory video that I do later on. So just let me know, and that's about it for this video. I'm sorry this was a bit of a ramble, but you know how it is. I just kind of had to get this out, and I wanted to talk about it really badly. So thank you guys for watching, especially to the end. I really do appreciate it. See you guys next time. Bye.